he was 11 years old, and he was a mass murderer. And the BDs killed him. He was BD, and his own set killed him. They backdoored him. He was shooting with backdoored him. Yeah.
Oh nah.
Bro, it's crazy. He was not a mass murderer. Yeah, let me stop putting that on his name. I ain't gonna lie. Here's the 10-minute video.
Robert Yummy Sandifer, born March 12th of 1983, was an 11-year-old American street gang member from Chicago, Illinois. Robert Sandifer was murdered by fellow gang members in Chicago, and this event garnered national attention because of his age, resulting in him appearing on the cover of Time magazine in September of 1994. Robert Sandifer was the last child of 9, born of Lorena Sandifer, who had over 30 arrests while processing, many of which a social worker who oversaw Lorena Sandifer and her children even said that there is no reason to believe that Lorena Sandifer will ever be able to adequately meet her own needs, let alone the needs of her growing family. When Robert was taken away from his mother and given to his grandmother, Janie Fields, the juvenile court concluded that her prognosis as a caregiver wasn't much more promising. The psychiatric report described Fields as very controlling and domineering. Sandifer was physically abused from the time he was an infant. Before he was 3 years old, Sandifer was already known to the Department of Children and Family Services. Physical examinations showed that Sandifer was alleged to have cigarette burns on his arms and neck, as well as a linear bruising consistent with physical beatings.
RP the Yummy, chat.
I just wanted to know what you think, what kind of guy he was.
Hey, man, he was a little kid.
He was a kid?
Yeah.
When you say how old was he?
He was 11.
11.
11
what was he
years
like
old.
when he was a little kid?
He was a sweet little kid. He wasn't
Bro,
violent.
like, yo, Zay.
Yo.
How can one even gangbang at 11? Like, bro, I'm trying to remember when I was 11 years old, bro. Like, what? Like, let me play this shit, bro.
Yeah, nah, that shit is crazy, but some niggas is drawn to that shit.
Yo, Pan, thank you for the bits.
Talking about now, that's not true.
Copy, thank you for the
It's
bits.
not true.
Like when you say...
Every time somebody says something, they change it around. He was this and he was that, and I know that he was not.
If I was to see this young man on the street, I've never seen him, right? What would I see? What did he look like? Was he a tall fellow? Was he
No,
short?
he was this short. He was very short. To be his age, he was real short.
Was he a bright fellow? Was he a smart guy?
Yeah, he was very bright and very smart. He can draw, he can read, he can write.
What kind of food did he like? I mean, was he...
He loved food, gyros. You know, he ate a lot.
Gyros, that's a hood meal.
When Mama had barbecues, he ate that. He ate a lot.
React to Peasy new album.
I'm gonna
Thanks
check it out
for
later. Why?
Nickname was Yummy because he loved cookies.
Yeah,
What was his favorite cookie?
chocolate chip. Oreo. You know them chocolate chips in the blue bag?
Many in the neighborhood where Robert lived had much to say about him. In the Time article about Robert, people said that he was a bully and that he smelled and he was of a different breed. Others recall a sweeter side. Lulu Washington sells discount candy out of her house, just across from Yummy's, and he just wanted love, she says. For that, he could be disarmingly kind. He'd say thank you, excuse me, pardon me. He loved animals and basketball, and the way with bicycles. He even once managed to merge 2 bikes into a single, working in tandem. Those were the good times. His home with his grandmother was in a working-class neighborhood, and the residents dealt with the growth of gangs in their neighborhood. One in particular that Robert would soon join, the Black Disciples. The Black Disciples was prominent in Chicago at the time, and several thousand or so gang members in Chicago were spread out across separate fiefdoms, led by ministers in their 30s and 40s who were always recruiting children.
I only hear about BDs
A Black Disciple
Chad, is there BDs anywhere else? I only hear them in Chicago.
named Keith, 17, describes the role the youngest members play. He's a small little punk, but he wants a name, right? So you make him do the work. Hey homie, go get me a car, a red sports car, by tonight. I'm taking my woman out. Or hey homie, go find me $50. Or hey homie, you want to be big? Go pop that dude who's messing with our business.
How long did you know him?
Since I've been staying around here.
How long was that?
11-year-old
About a year.
BD gangbang.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What was he like?
Bad.
Bad? Like when you say bad, what do you mean?
Fighting, stealing. breaking in people's houses.
I think you should
Stealing, breaking into niggas' houses. This nigga is 11. Oh my god, yo. Chad, this shit, you see what I'm saying? Why I said this shit is so interesting to me? Like, what the fuck? Like, yo, this nigga is 11.
Shut up. Why am I open up that door?
Did you ever see like the police coming to his house?
Every other day.
Every other day the police were coming to his house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you found out that he was killed, right? What did you think?
I mean, it shocked me. He shouldn't have got killed like that. I mean, he didn't have to die the way he was killed, but that's the life you live. That's what happened.
Robert was known for bullying and stealing money from children and the community in the Chicago neighborhood of Roseland. He liked luxury cars and remarkably was able to drive them despite his small size. Many of his 23 felonies and 5 misdemeanors were committed in the course of running errands for street gangs. The penal system had no way to keep him out of trouble, and the courts were helpless to lock him away because he was too young for the juvenile detention system, and too dangerous to be placed with children his age. Robert averaged a felony a month for the last year and a half.
What do you do with a nigga like that, bro? The nigga can't even make 23 felonies. The nigga can't even go to juvenile.
Of his life. Ann O'Callahan, a lawyer and assistant public guardian, met Robert once, last December in court. She was astounded by his size and demeanor. Some of these kids we represent are ominous characters, but I have never had to bend over and I was like, "Hi, my name is Ann, and I'm your lawyer." I couldn't believe it. Robert wasn't the least intimidated by the courtroom. It was like he was just sitting there waiting for the bus. On August 28, 1994, Robert was ordered to do a favor for his gang. He opened fire several times with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, striking several youths. Robert quickly fled the scene. Among the victims was a 14-year-old Siobhan Dean, who was hit by a stray bullet and later died from her gunshot wounds. The crime spree made national headlines. The nation was shocked by the brutality of the crime and the fact that the alleged perpetrator was 11 years old. The Chicago police began a manhunt for Robert, and according to Sergeant Palmer of the Chicago Police, Robert's actions were a gang initiation gone wrong. Robert spent the last 3 days of his life on the run. Gang members shuttled him between safe houses and abandoned buildings as the police swooped down on the neighborhood, searching for the shooter, followed by a flock of reporters. Robert was terrified for his life. He didn't understand why the police were after him, and his grandmother was worried about his safety and called him on the payphone to ask about his whereabouts, and he would answer crying and asking his grandmother if he could come back home. Robert managed to find his way back to his neighborhood, and to his neighbor's house. Robert, visibly frightened, asked his neighbor if he could call his grandmother so he could turn himself in. He asked if he could say a prayer together. The neighbor went to go make the call, and when she came back, he was gone. The police can only guess what happened next. On August 31st, while hiding at a home of a neighbor, Robert was met by brothers Craig and Derek Hardaway, ages 16 and 14, members of the Black Disciple Street Gang. Robert was told that he was being taken to a safe location and ordered into a waiting car. Instead, he was brought to a railroad underpass at East 108th Street and South Dolphin Avenue and was told to get on his knees. While on his knees, he was shot twice in the back of the head by the Hardaway brothers.
R.I.P. Chad. Sad as fuck.
All of you children that are standing here, looking down.
How sick of a person do you gotta be to shoot an 11-year-old in the head?
Take a good look, and I want you to say within your hearts that you'll never end up like Robert. Okay? Cry if you will.
They didn't do it for no ransom? Yeah, I know. Apparently they did it because they thought that he was gonna snitch. But bro, regardless of the fact, why are you taking an 11-year-old to go do hits? Like, yo, this shit's not making sense.
Make up your mind that you will never let your life end in tragedy like this.
He was murdered by fellow gang members because they were afraid of him telling the Chicago police about the Black Disciples' operations around his neighborhood in Chicago North Side. 400 people attended his funeral. and the story was shared by Time magazine to the rest of the nation to show how gruesome gang activity can be and how even an 11-year-old child can become a killer. Robert Yummy Sandfire died August 31st, 1994.
11-year-olds don't get charged like a 21-year-old? No, they don't. I ain't gonna lie, I want to know what they would have hit him with, because he was too young to go to juvenile.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, let me know in the comments down below, and leave a like if you liked the video. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, and if you're old, make sure you hit that bell.
Bro, the nigga was an 11-year-old killer. They said he killed a female, and then he shot at like 3 or 4 other people and hit them. And then I ain't gonna lie, I remember Yummy, because there was niggas that was on this block that said that he was involved in way more murders. Like, doesn't matter he was gonna snitch. I don't think he was gonna snitch. Nah, I'm capping. That's an 11-year-old kid, bro. He's telling.
No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, and no TikTok. Any page claiming to be affiliated with hood politics is an imposter.
Yeah, he's definitely ratting.
Welcome to Hood Politics. In this episode, I will be discussing Taekwon Cox, also known as Lil Fee. The facts of the case are as follows. In the 1980s, Los Angeles was a war zone. The gang wars and the drug wars had become intertwined and turned the city into a bloodbath. The drug money funded the arms race, so gang members went from handguns to fully automatic AK-47s, seemingly overnight. The nightly news and morning paper was filled with stories of robberies, assaults, and murders. Gangs had the city under siege, and one of the most notorious gangs were the West Side Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips. Among the ranks of the Rolling 60s was a young man named Taekwon Cox, also known as Lil Fee. During his teenage years, Lil Fee developed a reputation for violence. He was no stranger to gunplay and would regularly have shootouts with rival gangs, such as the A-Tray Gangster Crips. Monster Cody, who was a reputable member of the A-Tray Gangster Crips.
Oh, I've seen this nigga before. Namir showed me this nigga. I watched this storyline with Namir.
Spoke about having numerous run-ins with Lil Fee in his book titled Monster, the autobiography of an LA gang member. In one incident, on August 27th, 1984, Monster Cody and another A-Tray member named Lil Harv went to the intersection of Florence Avenue and Main Street to watch some street races. After getting some food from the Golden Ox restaurant, they walked across the street to Winchell's Donuts and talked to Twin and Baby Gangster from Santana Block. They then returned to their vehicle and started eating. Shortly afterwards, Lil Harv noticed Lil Fee and a group of Rolling 60s walking nearby. Lil Harv wanted to leave, but Monster got out of the car, yelled gangster, and opened fire on the group. Monster said initially, Lil Fee was the only one shooting back, but then the other Rolling 60s also opened fire, and Monster was forced to retreat. Although Lil Fee was well known on the streets of Los Angeles, he would gain national attention after being charged with the unthinkable. On Friday, August 31st, 1984, at around 6 a.m., Darren Williams and Horace Burns arrived at...
It's too fast for me to think. Go back to normal. I got you. I could hear him though.
The home of a woman named Ida Moore. A woman named Lisa Brown was at the home as well. Williams used Moore's phone and then asked to borrow her van. Williams sent Burns to pick up Lil Fee. Shortly afterwards, the group piled into Moore's van. Moore drove, Brown sat in the passenger seat, and Williams, Burns, and Lil Fee sat in the back. Williams directed Moore to 59th Street and began looking for an address that he wrote on a piece of paper. When Williams located the home, he told Moore to park down the street and leave the engine running. Brown heard one of the men say they were going to kill everybody in the house. Williams told Moore, Brown, and Burns to stay in the van and keep lookout while he and Lil Fee exited the van and walked towards the home. Moore noticed Williams had a gun in his waistband and she saw Lil Fee carrying something wrapped in a jacket. After the two men entered the home, Moore and Brown said they heard the sound of gunfire. A couple of minutes later, Williams ran back to the van holding a gun. About a minute later, Lil Fee ran to the van and said, "I just blew that bitch head off, so drive." Moore then sped away.
What?
Williams had Moore drive to the intersection of Vermont Avenue and Gage Street. Williams told Moore and Brown not to say anything about what just happened. The three men...
I ain't gonna lie, chat. Yo, chat, you see why I be watching these shits? Yo, chat, you see why I be... You see why I be watching these shits off stream? Y'all niggas be complaining, bro. This why I be saying I be watching this shit off stream. Because y'all niggas be, you feel me? Like, oh, bro, like...
and then exited the van and went into a building called the Vermont Club. Moore and Brown returned to Moore's house. Shortly afterwards, detectives arrived at the scene of the shooting and began their investigation. When they entered the home, they discovered a house of horror. A 57-year-old woman named Ebra Alexander was sitting at her kitchen table drinking a cup of coffee when she was shot multiple times in the head. Ebra's 23-year-old daughter Dietria was lying in bed when she was shot 3 times in her head and neck. 10-year-old Damani and 8-year-old Damon were also laying in bed when they were shot and killed. Ebra's 14-year-old son Neil awoke when he heard a scream and the sound of a gunshot. He saw one of the gunmen standing over Dietria's bed and jumped on his back, and the two began fighting over the gun. The gunman fell on the trunk near the door, but quickly regained control of the gun. The gunman then hit Neil in the face, and Neil fled out the back door to call for help. Ebra's grandson Ivan was also in the home at the time of the shooting and hid in the closet when he heard the sound of gunshots. Investigators began to sweep the neighborhood in search of potential witnesses. Neighbors that witnessed Williams and Lil Fee running from the home gave investigators their descriptions, as well as a description of the van. Investigators discovered the victims were the family of an NFL player named Kermit Alexander. Ebra was Kermit's mother, Dietria was Kermit's sister, and Damani and Damon were Kermit's nephew. A short while later, Williams called Moore's house and asked Brown to drive his car to the Vermont Club. While on the way, Brown picked up Lil Fee from a nearby gas station. After arriving at the Vermont Club, Brown witnessed someone hand Lil Fee the same rifle that she saw him carrying earlier that morning. Lil Fee put the rifle in the trunk of the car. Brown then drove Lil Fee to 10th Avenue and watched him take the rifle out of the trunk and take it into an apartment building. A few minutes later, he returned to the car without the rifle. Around 10 a.m. that same morning, Moore and Brown met with Williams at the home of a mutual friend. The women witnessed Williams remove new clothes from a shopping bag. Williams gave Moore $50 and asked her to buy him some personal items. He gave her another $5 for gas, and he gave Brown $20. That afternoon, Lil Fee bought a 1975 Cadillac for $3,000, paying for it in $20 and $100 bills. Damn. The next day, Williams made a $1,500 cash down payment on the car for his wife. During this time, a man named James Kennedy was the subject of our narcotics investigation. Nearly a month after the murders, on September 27th, police recovered a .30 caliber rifle from Kennedy's apartment. Kennedy decided to cooperate with law enforcement and went on to tell them what he knew about the murders. Kennedy could not recall an exact date, but he told investigators that Lil Fee arrived at his apartment one morning with the rifle wrapped in a jacket. He went on to say that Lil Fee told him to destroy the rifle and to wash the jacket because it had gunshot residue on it. Kennedy also went on to say that he did see a young woman sitting in a car in front of his building, waiting for Lil Fee. Kennedy recalled giving the jacket to his sister and telling her to wash it, but he decided not to destroy the rifle and hid it in a bush near his apartment. Investigators compared bullet fragments from the rifle to bullet fragments recovered from the scene of the murders. Many of the fragments matched, although some fragments were too damaged to call a match. Shortly afterwards, Lil Fee was arrested. While in jail, Lil Fee called a woman named Cassandra. He asked her if the police found the gun that he gave Kennedy. She said she didn't know. During this time, investigators had already spoken to multiple informants and witnesses. They also arrested Moore, Brown, Burns, and Williams. Investigators discovered that the gunmen were hired to kill a woman inside of the home, but there was a problem. They went into the wrong house. The address was read wrong, and the actual home they were looking for was a few doors down. There was a story circulating that the botched hit was ordered due to a drug debt, but that proved to be false. The official story is that a woman was shot inside of the Vermont Club, so the business owner paid the gunman to kill the woman in order to prevent a $2 million lawsuit. The defendants refused to testify against the owner of the Vermont Club, so investigators couldn't pursue murder for hire charges due to lack of evidence. During the trial, prosecutors painted Lil Fee as a stone-cold killer and a gang member with little regard for human life. The prosecution presented a stack of evidence against Lil Fee, including testimony and written statements from Moore, Brown, Kennedy, and others. Witnesses that saw Lil Fee running from the Alexander residence after the shooting. Ballistics testing, which found that the bullet fragments found at the scene of the murders came from the same .30 caliber rifle that Lil Fee gave Kennedy. Other evidence included a lifted palm print from a trunk located in a room where the younger victims had been sleeping. Two experts concluded that only Lil Fee could have made that print. Ebra's son, Kermit Alexander, and two of her daughters, Geraldine Alexander, who was Damani's mother, and Daphne Bonner, who was Damon's mother, testified that they never seen Lil Fee and their mother Bonner's house. Bonner also testified that Dietria had bought the trunk 2.5 weeks before the shooting, so there was no way Lil Fee could have touched that trunk outside of the time of the murders. Prosecutors also presented evidence of 2 robberies that Lil Fee was involved in as a juvenile. One of the robberies occurred in May of 1981. Lil Fee and another teenager carjacked a woman named Rosalind at gunpoint as she waited for her son after school. Lil Fee led police on a high-speed chase for half an hour until he crashed into a light pole. Police found a .32 caliber pistol in the car. The other robbery occurred a month earlier when Lil Fee and another person approached 3 junior high students. Lil Fee hit 2 of them with fists and a piece of a mop handle and demanded money from the group. The defense presented evidence of Lil Fee's upbringing as a reason for his actions. The defense stated that Lil Fee had been virtually abandoned at an early age. He had very little contact with his father, and his mother had a drinking problem and had gone to prison for a bank robbery. Some of Lil Fee's family members testified on his behalf. His younger sister, Edrina Myers, called him a great big brother and said that her and her siblings had a rough childhood. His younger brother, Demontre Cox, told the court that their mother was an abusive alcoholic and that Lil Fee ran away from home after she threw a vase at him. He went on to say that Lil Fee urged him to stay away from gangs and told him to stay on the right path. His grandmother, Audrey Martin, told the court that he was skilled at sports and that he was...
Majority of these niggas who are killer... Damn. Majority of these niggas who are killers like this, their upbringing usually starts at home when their parents kicking them out or them being off crack or some shit. Like, the parents always fucked up first.
...a good person. His great-grandmother, Annie Ellsworth, told the court that she was Lil Fee's primary caregiver. She put him in the Boy Scouts, gave him an allowance, a bike, and also gave him money to buy a car. One of Lil Fee's junior high school teachers was a man named Donald Baker. Baker described Lil Fee as skilled in athletics and capable of getting good grades. The teacher went on to say that the pressure from the neighborhood gangs was a serious distraction to male students, especially those without strong role models. One of the junior high administrators was a man named Horace Anderson. Anderson also felt Lil Fee had been a good student until it appeared that he joined a gang. He began having behavioral problems, which led to his expulsion from the school. Ultimately, Lil Fee, Darren Williams, and Horace Burns were found guilty with the murders of Ebera Alexander, Dietria Alexander, Damon Bonner, and Damani Gardner. On September 19, 1985, Horace Burns was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On July 23, 1987, Darren Williams was sentenced to death and sent to death row at San Quentin State Prison. On April 30th, 1986,
I don't know if y'all believe in the death penalty, but I don't believe in that shit.
Lil Fee was sentenced to death and sent to death row at San Quentin State Prison. While in San Quentin, Lil Fee became the subject of even more controversy. In 1988, there was a power struggle taking place among the Crips in San Quentin. On one side, there was Lil Fee, and on the other side, there was Stanley Williams, also known as Tookie, an early member of the Crips that sat on death row for committing 4 murders in February and March of 1979. At one
They're alive?
time, Lil Fee and Tookie shared a close friendship.
You don't believe in it? I think life in prison is good enough, brother. I don't feel like people actually feel pain unless they're in life. Like, yo, like let me give an example. I feel like the death penalty is kind of an easy way out. Like, yo, life in prison, yo, you know niggas is gonna beat the fuck out of you. You know niggas gonna jump you, cut you. Like, I feel like life in prison is like an everyday cycle of like it's like a recycled hell. Like, no funny shit. I feel like it's a living hell. So, like, you know, like, I feel like it's no easy way out of your shit. Like, niggas who are in prison, they don't even want to be in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a recycled process every day where your mind is, like, repeatedly going through the same process, all of your consequences. Like, yo, I guarantee that 90% of people who got caught up in jail don't ever want to go back, or they don't ever want to do that shit again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like prison is a living, like, example of hell, literally.
But that all changed due to ego and prison politics. Tookie reportedly wanted Lil Fee to stab Darren Williams because Tookie believed that Williams was an informant. Lil Fee refused. Lil Fee understood that defying orders from Tookie would likely get him attacked, so he went on the offensive. On October 10th, 1988, Lil Fee slashed Tookie with the shank across his neck while on the exercise yard that they both had been assigned to. One of the correctional officers in the gun tower witnessed the attack and ordered everyone to the ground. Lil Fee was seen throwing a 4.5-inch blade near the yard's basketball court immediately after the attack. Tookie survived the attack with relatively minor injuries and told prison officials that he didn't know what happened and he couldn't remember anything. Shortly after the attack, news began to spread throughout the streets of Los Angeles that Tookie had been stabbed and killed while on death row and that Lil Fee was responsible, which created conflict between multiple gangs. Back in San Quentin, the Crips were forced to pick a side. Most gangs that were loyal to the Neighborhood Crip Alliance sided with Lil Fee, while the other gangs such as Hoovers and Gangsta Crips mostly sided with Tookie. Shortly afterwards, the two groups were placed on separate exercising yards in order to prevent any further attacks. The two groups were also given grade B status, which is basically administrative segregation for death row inmates. In July of 2000, Lil Fee was on the Crip yard along with two other death row inmates named Noel Jackson and Paul Tuliapa, also known as Roscoe. Shortly after noon, the group unraveled a 4-foot...
Wait, how long did Lil Fee get? Zay.
Section of a chain link fence along the yard. The group went through the fence and made their way towards the adjustment center. Shortly afterwards, a corrections officer noticed the unraveled fence and sounded the alarm. Another corrections officer spotted the group as they were on the walkway to the adjustment center. The prison was locked down and the group became trapped on the walkway. Other corrections officers arrived at the scene and ordered the group to stop while aiming non-lethal guns and tasers at them. The men surrendered and were handcuffed and taken back into the prison. When interviewed by prison investigators, Roscoe said the group never intended to escape. They just wanted to kill every guard that they were able to get their hands on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But nah, chat, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like prison is the best thing that ever happened in criminal justice, that when it's used correctly. Because there's a lot of people in jail right now that are falsely accused. I'm not here for the false accusations. Like, I remember I read a story, chat, of somebody who was falsely accused of a murder. And he was in jail for 20 years. And he literally blanked himself after like the first 2 months and said he couldn't do it. I ain't gonna lie, chat. Yo, chat. Yo, imagine getting falsely accused and going to prison for 25 years. Yo, chat. Yo, chat, bro. I'd lose my mind. Yo, TK, what up, gang? Thank you for the resub. Yo, chat. Yo, Zay. I gotta know, chat. What would you do if you were falsely accused in prison? And they give you 20, if you're falsely accused, you didn't do it. You know you ain't do it. You ain't have shit to do. But let's say you were in a police lineup of suspects and somebody pointed you out, but you ain't had nothing to do with shit. And you get 20 years. What are you doing?
Nigga, when I get out, nigga, I'm suing them niggas. I can't do shit about that, bro.
Brother, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, yo, anti nigga for 8 months. I wouldn't even know how to live, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Nigga, you gotta understand, Zay, suing ain't enough, bro. They took 25 years of your life, bro. Bro, yo, Zay, I'm 25 now, nigga. Like, you feel me? Like, come on, Zay. Like, you haven't even lived 20 years yet, nigga. Like, come on, bro. Like, you feel me? Come on, Zay.
Nigga, you'll be hurt, nigga. You just can't do nothing about it, though. Like, you don't beat that case, you done, nigga.
I guess I'm doing 25 years, bro. That's why when all these niggas be acting tough and shit, bro, I'll be telling niggas, yo, y'all niggas play this little gangster act because y'all listen to rap music, whatever. And nigga like me, I ain't even doing 5. I'll be honest with you, nigga.
What you gonna do?
Nigga, I'm snitching, nigga. Fuck, yo, listen. I tell niggas beforehand, nigga, don't do no crime with rat. I'm telling. Oh, bro. Oh, bro. Y'all can play this little gangster act with anybody. Listen,
I'm saying
I'm snitching, oh bro.
If you get falsely accused, even like Like, what if you knew nothing about it and you can't snitch, though?
If I'm falsely accused and I know I can do nothing about it, bro, I'm gonna just go in there and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna pray every single day to God. Literally, I'm gonna look through every single mistake I made in my life and apologize. Literally, because I'm telling you, prison, in my opinion, is a living hell, bro. I feel like it's hell. Nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, if I felt like I was placed there falsely, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So I felt like, you know what I mean, like. Like, yo, Chad, have you seen the shit that be going on in prison? Have you watched prison documentaries? Oh my god, yo, bro, niggas be you see them little teenage ass kids who be getting bitched out on Beyond Scared Straight? That is nothing compared to those prison documentaries. Nothing. Them niggas in there in the prison are savages, demons, no heart. Them niggas is stone cold. Heartless niggas, bro. Like I'm talking about, like, them niggas is mentally fucked up in the head. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
real shit.
Them niggas have no type of sympathy at all. My man's got a week to come forward. Word of my mother. Nah, nigga said a week to come forward, nigga. Ain't no week with the police. Nigga, that nigga better come forward within the next 2 hours, nigga. You better come and say, I did it or I was involved. Nigga, don't do no crime with rat. Bro, it was him. He had that caliber. It was under his seat. I seen it. You feel me? Listen, yo, that's why I said I ain't gonna lie. That's why I said I low-key feel bad for the TK situation, because it was like one of the murders that TK had, it wasn't even TK's fault, and the nigga got charged for it. Like, Zay, did you see it? All right, let me give you the scenario, right? Because this has happened to multiple niggas, and I want to know what you would do, right, Zay? Listen, Zay, you listening?
Yeah.
So let's say your homeboy, right? He's like, yo, Zay, you try to get some food or some shit? Let's slide to Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah.
You gonna probably be like, yeah, come scoop me, right?
Yeah.
He scoops you, right? He's driving on his way to Chick-fil-A. As he's driving on the way to Chick-fil-A, he sees his top op on the right side. He's feeding to kill the nigga. He grabs his gun, rolls down his window, and lets off shots and kills him. You're in the car. You have nothing to do with the murder. The only thing that you were there for was to go to Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah.
Cops pull you all over. Y'all both get arrested for murder. You snitching?
I mean, nigga, if that's your man's, that
ain't my op. That's my man's. That ain't my op.
No, I'm saying. If that's your man's, you're not gonna have to snitch, nigga. Your man's gonna be like, nah, he ain't do it, nigga. Like, y'all both got caught.
You think police is going for that? See, this, you making it seem like it's easy, Zay. Police is not going for that. Police is not going for that, Zay.
So you saying they're not gonna go for that, but they gonna go for it.
Unless the nigga breaks down the story on how it happened, or like, yo, I went to go pick him up for Chick-fil-A. He ain't had nothing to do with that. Yada yada yada.
Nigga, I'm gonna say, nigga, I ain't do shit.
Nigga, they gonna ask you for proof of some more shit, bro. Police ask for accessory unless you're involving and cooperating. That is a fact. It's called conspiracy. You never heard of it?
I know that. No, I know they be asking hella questions, bro.
That's why I'm asking you, Zay, what you doing? Because if not, they're gonna get you and charge you with conspiracy.
Getting my lawyer, nigga. I'm getting a lawyer, nigga. That's what I'm doing.
All right, nigga. I'm cooperating. Sir, I was told I was getting picked up for Chick-fil-A. The nigga saw his top op. He shot him with the Glock 17 caliber handgun. I believe it takes 9mm bullets. I see him stash the extendo in the middle console. You might want to check it. Oh, bro. I'm not nigga, 20 years, 25 years, and you asking for a lawyer? You even thinking about fighting the case? You crazy. I'm cooperating. You crazy. I'm wrong. That conspiracy is
nigga, you snitch.
Bro,
You snitch, nigga. You get out, you gonna die anyways,
no,
nigga.
I'm not. I'm not from the hood. Who gonna kill me? Fuck.
I mean, I'm saying like if you in his, you feel me?
No, brother. Bro, and here's another thing too. I hate how everybody has this fucking thought in their head where they feel like all rats die. That is not true. There's a lot of rats out here in these streets who are living well free on the exact same block they snitched on. Facts.
Yeah, but if you ain't, feel me? If you in what's the name shoes, like nigga, TK is a hood nigga. So
Nigga, still, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like I said, conspiracy is the most dangerous charge ever. I don't think that should be in the criminal justice system at all. But I understand why it's there. Because niggas will lie and try and get off certain shit, yada, yada, yada. Like, I understand why it's there. But it's the most dangerous charge in law ever. And that's why I said that, Zay, you are very crazy for even thinking about asking for a lawyer to fight this case. Because I'm telling you right now, police take everything into consideration. If you don't tell in that holding cell and you're asking for a lawyer, they're going to be like, oh, all right. So now that we're hitting you with conspiracy, let's charge you for this gun too. Because we don't know whose gun it is. You going to tell us whose gun it is? Oh, okay. Then we're going to throw this on you too. Like, do you see what I'm saying? This is how law works. I've seen the shit. So that's why I'm asking you, like, yo, if you even thinking about fighting a conspiracy charge, they're going to ask you, oh, well, the police is gonna play stupid too. They're gonna be on some shit where, oh well, we don't really know if he shot the gun. Maybe it was you. Whose gun is this? How do we know it's not yours? Oh, so it's his gun? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. you feel me? They're gonna play them games with you. And I've seen it in multiple documentaries and in multiple movies and series where shit like this goes down and they will fuck you up. It's a fucked up system. So that's why
real life. That's true as fuck.
Exactly. And that's why I try to tell people all the time, like, yo, stop this rap music shit where this is no snitching policy, yada, yada, yada. Bro, don't get me wrong. If it's for like a gram of weed or some shit, okay, I'll take the charge for my man. It's a fucking gram of weed. You feel me? But if it's all some shit where I'm facing 5 to 10 for a crime I know I didn't commit and they're trying to pin it on me, I'm snitching. I'm not even doing 3 years. Facts.
Facts.
Facts.